Hey everybody, Pete Guitar Martin here on bass. We're gonna do an Iron Maiden song. This song is called Powerslave. It's got some really cool bass parts in it. There's some, guitar solos with bass solos mixed in, which I would call it a soli because there's more than one person soloing at the same time. Any rate, I'm counting 10 different bass parts. I'm dividing that up into including sections that have bass, what I would call bass solos or these bass fills in it. All right, so it starts out, and I'm going to go slow, and it starts out on A. It's 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 E, 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 E, 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 E. Okay, so that's what I'm calling the first bass line of 10 different bass lines or 10 different bass sections in the song. And that comes up frequently. It's the start of the song, minus some drum fills, and it's also I think it's the verse a lot of the times, or maybe a pre-chorus and a verse, and I'm not sure. I haven't analyzed the song that way yet. I'm just saying there's 10 different bass sections as far as I'm concerned, and some of them repeat, like that repeats several times. Okay, so the next part I initially thought went open E and then C, A flat. Oh, that other part, by the way, the notes we're on the third string, the A string, the first part, it starts on an A, and I thought maybe he was using a pick, but I didn't really think so for sure. Maybe on some of the recordings there's certain sections that use picks. I'm not sure. There is overdubbing on the bass. There's one section in the solo where the bass parts overlap a little bit, so you have to leave off one note to play the other note of the next little lick. But anyway, there is, like I said, there is some overdubbing on the recording, but at any rate, I did watch a live performance that Iron Maiden did that I found on YouTube, a live performance, killer live performance in California somewhere, and I should have probably gotten the date with it and everything. I believe I think the bass player on the studio album is Steve Harris. Really nice work, and from what I understand, he actually writes some lyrics, or maybe even a lot or most of their lyrics. I don't know. That's what a buddy was telling me, anyways. But anyway, so this is A and a 2 and a 3 and a. Then we go to the third fret, which is the same string, which is C, and then the other note is B flat. Now, the articulation is really important. I want to think of it as, but it's not. It rings more like that. Now that note is short, up, right before you change notes. 1 and a 2. Now maybe, I was watching him and zooming in, is he using a thumb pick? I think sometimes he's using his fingernails though. I'm sure he is, but anyway, he might be hitting the tip of his fingernails sometimes. And other times I do see him do this when he's playing the chords. He's using his fingernails like that. So anyway, I'll show you that in another section. A and a 2, C, E flat, first fret, third. I messed up rhythm, but anyway, that goes. Now I noticed on live he does this, and this is the first string, 7th fret. So that's D, C sharp, D, E, D, C sharp, and then this is on the second string, 8th fret, which makes it a B flat or an A sharp, depending on how you look at it. I guess we're going to use sharps if we're saying we're in A, or anyway. And then it goes to the 7th fret, which is A. Now, the guitar does this, does a hammer pull off on the C sharp to D, like this. And I think I hear that done on the studio recording, but I'm not positive. And I need to listen to it closer in my car stereo, which carries the bass better than the phone. But anyways, I like doing that. You could do that if you want. Or you could just do this and let the guitar do the trill there. All right, so that's the next part is like I started to say, I thought it was single notes low down here, and maybe there is a part doing that on the recording too, but it's not the predominant part. Anyway, open E, C, G sharp, F natural, E, C, G sharp, but that is not really what, he didn't do that live at all, and maybe it's not on the recording either. What he is doing is, he's got his first finger on the 7th fret 3rd string, and his third finger's on the 9th fret 2nd and 1st strings. And so he's playing the 1, the 5, and the 1 of an E chord. And he's doing that with his fingernails. See that? The nail. And he might even do this. I think I might see him do this with all 3 fingers. But then up here we go to the 15th fret, which is a C. And then we go to the 11th fret, which is a G sharp. I'm wanting to call it an A flat, but G sharp if we're going to use sharp keys. And then F, E. So this is kind of an E Phrygian mode. It's kind of an E Phrygian mode of A natural minor. But anyways, E, C, G sharp, F, and there's separation between that. And see how I palm mute over here? So 1, 2, 3. Now, I thought maybe he was doing this, but he's not. He might be doing this though. Again, the guitar does that some. E, F, E, but that's guitar. And maybe he does this on the bass. You could do that. And maybe just do it on reps 2 and 4. I don't know, like 1, 2, 3. No, I didn't do it, but maybe on reps 2 and 4 you do this. Okay, so then it goes into what I would call the chorus, which is really our 3rd section. And this is kind of different too, because I was like, this is the part where I really thought he was using the pick, and I thought he was doing this, see? 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and 1. Listen, 1 and a 2. No, 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3. And a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. That's open, E to 2nd fret, F sharp to 3rd fret, G to 5th fret, A. But he's not actually doing that there. He's doing it on the 3rd string. And I would say if you're going to use a pick, you want to roll off the treble knob, because the pick makes it more trebly. And maybe mute, but he's not doing that. He's using his fingers. You hear that fret noise? You may be getting some of that fret noise intentionally. Sometimes that's part of the bass tone. That's without it. I don't know. You can listen, see if you hear that rattling or not. I mean, but at any rate, this is the way I believe he's playing it. 1 and a 2 and a 3. No. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. He's playing the C there and a D there. I hear something like he might even be doing some kind of weird hammer. I'm not sure, you know. I'm not sure what he's doing there. It's kind of hard for me to hear that part on the recording. But he is definitely droning on the low E. So it's 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a... No, let's see what... 1 and a 2. See that? So it's 1 and a 2, 3, yeah, 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a C, D, 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 E is a hammer and a 2 E. We do the hammers or the slides on E. E of count 4. No, E. And a 1 E. Well, the E before each downbeat. And a 1 E. So the hammer's on E. And a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 and a 4. 7th fret to hammer to 9th fret. To hammer or slide to 8th fret. To hammer to slide to 12th fret. 1 E. And a 1 E and a 1 E and a, actually starts right here. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 and a 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 and a 4. That shouldn't really sound like a glissando. It's more like, it should sound more like a legato hammer. But I don't think he's doing that, you know, being a bass player. I think he's doing a really quick slide, so you can't really hear the slide. Anyway, so that whole, this is the part 3, 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. And I hope I'm not getting the timing mixed up because of I'm not playing to the recording. At any rate, but those are the notes in the right order. And I think the next section is the solo section. So it comes out of this, you know, and I'm not going to say the whole song structure because it repeats some of those parts. But after it does this one time, it goes. I think it's the second time in the song it does this section. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. That begins the bass section, okay? So it hit, I hear it, it comes out of a section, and I think it's that section, but anyways, it does this. I think he's hitting these 3 E's, like plucking them. Thumb, first ring, and that's open E, 3rd string, 7th fret E, and then 1st string, 9th fret E. You play them at the same time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, that's the beginning of the solo section. Let me see if I can remember these riffs in order. I learned this part note for note. If I can remember the right order. Yeah. Does it do that next? Okay, anyway, it does this first. E, A, and hammered from A to B. I don't think it does this yet. Oh crap! I'm just trying to get the order right. Yeah. I can't remember it. Oh yeah, this is the part that overlaps. So it starts out. Okay, yeah. Now this part hits. This second part starts with a G sharp on the 1st string, 13th fret. G sharp, A, B, A, sharp, and then it plays an E on the second string, 14th fret, and it actually goes to the F sharp, but that overlaps with this. Yeah, so it goes yeah. Da, 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 bo, da, da, yeah. Ba, 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 ba. That's almost the same as a previous lick, but it keeps going without any rhythmic breaks. So that part is 7th fret, 7, hammered at 9th, 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 7, 7. All right, let's see. So if I can do the whole section in order, solo section. I got those two out of order. Should have. Oh man, let's start again. Boom, boom, boom. Oh no. Dang nabbit. Okay, that is that first half of the solo section. It ends with this. And then 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, like being. Okay, so now I'm calling this another section. So the that was section 4. I'm calling this section 5. Where it and the guitar solo starts doing more here. So I'm saying that section 1 is going to end kind of like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Right here it goes, it hits a loud note, then it gets soft, and does a crescendo. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 2, and 3, and 4, and goes from the G to the A. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, A. Then it goes to the next section. Okay. Which I'm going to call the section 6. Yeah, it starts with this. B. Now we're on the 4th string, 7th fret. B A B, B A B, B A B, A B, and a G and a D, A. Then now we're on the 3rd string, 7th fret. E D C sharp A, and it repeats. So I'll say fret numbers: 7 5 7. 5 7 5 7 3 5 on the 3rd string, 5 on the 4th strings, and 7th fret, and that's on 4 E and a 1 and 2. goes into what I'm calling the next section, which is almost that same part, only an octave higher. So if we do the last rep of that would be. Now he does some ad lib in there, and this is the section of the song. I didn't get every single little lick in that ad lib section of the song. And I think it does this one time. Oh, that was an earlier section. Yeah, that was in the earlier section, I think. Time when it does this repeat, it does this. First string, 9th, 7th, 6th, 7th on the second string, then back to the first string on the 7th, and then 6, then 7 on the second string. Okay, anyway, let's see. Then it goes back to this again. It might do this section again. Or I'm not sure, but anyway, when it goes back to this. Done that last part in F sharp instead of E. Anyway, B A B B A B. Excuse me, I already showed you that section, but I wanted to tell you it does it 4 times. Very last time it ends it differently. The second time it does it. It does it down here. It does that higher section that we just finished going through, and that is a little sketchy, so you want to listen to that when you're playing along to the tape, and maybe you can fill in a few details I missed. But at any rate, the last time it does it like this. This is doing is it's getting us out of this whole soli section, S-O-L-I. That's when multiple people are soloing at the same time. It's called a soli, or a sectional almost. And I mean, the whole band is a rhythm section. Anyway, so it's transitioning there back into the last verse, essentially, is what it's doing, okay? And setting up for the ultimately the end of the song. But so we go. And we only hit this one. So normally we're doing this, right? 1 and 2. So we're going and a 1, right? You're doing ba-da-da. But the very last time, you only hit this one note once, and you hit it really short. And then you slide up to the 8th fret, and you play F, E on frets 8 and 7. And then you're going to play D sharp D on frets 6 and 5. And then you're going to play C, B on frets 3 and 4. All that's on the 3rd string. Then I like to be fancy and put my thumb there and play my F sharp here. F sharp, 2nd fret, 4th string. And then it goes in the beginning of bump, 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 bump. Right, it goes into that and does that whole verse. And anyway, so let's just do that. I don't have the timing to count. You should probably count this out. I listen to the drums on the recording, and the drums doing these really fast tom fills, and he ends with a chopped note, and that's when I know I'm gonna end my note at the same time he chops his riff. Hit the wrong notes. So again, that's I'm not sure if I gave the right amount of time there, but anyway, those are the right notes in the right order. Now we're going back to the beginning, you know. Anyway, then it does a bunch of similar parts it's done before, and then at one part it does this, and I do this on the 1st string. He might do it up here, but it starts on an A. It's similar to this riff. Only starts in a different place. So that's A. A, 1st string, 2nd fret, G sharp, 1st string, 1st fret, A. Then we're going to go to B on the 4th fret. Then, and that was 2nd fret, 1st fret, A, G sharp. Then F, E on 2nd string, 3rd fret, and 2nd fret. So, and here I would hit the low string too. So I'm playing E octave. And at the very end it does that slow with a retardando, which means gradually gets slower. Anyway, it kind of does that twice, sort of, but then at the very end it does this. Oh wait, no, no, I'm sorry, it goes to the F. So right, the first time it does this. Right, and then it resolves on an E, and it does E, F, E, F, E, ah. It's a hammer pull off from 2nd to 3rd fret on the 2nd string, E to F. And I do this, but I'm cautious for bleed over. I hit this, and I might mute it. I might go, or maybe probably the best way to probably just do this. And not hit the low E till later. I think it ends like this, like slapping here. We're muting strings 1 and 3. We're playing open E on the 4th string, E E on the second string, second fret. So here you hear that hitting the frets. And then you mute over here. Careful not to make any sound. We don't want to have that sound. We just want to end the note. So there you have it. That is Powerslave, bass part, Iron Maiden. I think I covered all the parts of the songs, and so sorry it's a little bit disjointed. It's hard to remember all that. It's easy to play along to the record, or easier to play along to the record than to just do this. But I think I just taught you all the different parts you need to know, except for a couple little fills on that faster section where it's playing the this part. I'd rather hear. He does different fills in between there, and I didn't get all those fills worked out. One way or another, I showed you every other lick in the whole song. So have fun with that, and do not hesitate to make comments or questions, and I'll probably mark sections. So when you want to jump to a certain section, maybe I'll do a separate section just on the solo, or maybe I'll do a play along version of the whole thing. All right, hope you enjoyed that. If you haven't already, I really appreciate when people hit subscribe. It really helps me. It doesn't cost you anything. So hit subscribe, like if you like it, share with your friends, all that stuff. Anything you do like that helps me, and it doesn't take you but a second. So I really appreciate your help with that. Take care now. Thank you.